Good morning for the third day in a row. It is the morning DNA. I'm Aaron Dicer, the man of a single black shirt. She is Danae Hughes, the woman of a million distractions. And we're here to find out what November 18th, 2020 is made of.
Okay. Kristen, my friend Kristen's in the chat. I actually tried to respond to you on Periscope, but then I got a notification that I was spamming Periscope.
What?
I got so excited. I wrote, Kristen! In all caps with like 25 exclamation points. I guess that's not a good thing to do.
No,
but
that's very
I was
spammy.
saying, girl, hang out. I want to show you something. You guys, so this is my friend Kristen. I've known her the longest of anyone that you will ever see in the chat, actually.
Oh, wow.
I met Kristen when I was in the third grade. Fun friend story. You guys probably all have these, of someone that you met when you were younger. We met and did not like each other because Kristen's third grade boyfriend started flirting with me. And so we had like a little thing going on.
It's always a guy.
But then I was like, you have a girlfriend? Like, you're a jerk. And so because we got real with it, Kristen and I became really, really, really close. Like all the time over at her house, listening to Phantom of the Opera. And she was this incredible gymnast and she'd like do all these flips and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to show this to you, Kristen. Are you ready? Hanging up here. Do you recognize this? This is something Kristen gave me for my birthday when I was little.
Ah, a little dream catcher.
Yeah. Which I apparently really have attached very well.
Well, that's fine. That's where it goes,
Yeah.
We can all see it.
That is the dream catcher.
Nice.
And I've kept it all these years. I just wondered if you recognized it. Anyway, hi, Kristen. It's really good to see you. And everyone else. It's good to see you guys, too. I just got excited.
It is, man. It's amazing. Archimedes Amazonas says, good morning. I missed the good morning time. Where's Danae's coffee? Right
here. I do have the ridiculously long,
stir spoon
because I do not have a honey pourer right now. Like, my squeezer's not functioning correctly. So I have to use the long spoon to get in there. So it's comical.
It's not a good day when your squeezer's not functioning properly. It's just
as you get older, these things happen.
That's right. Just a matter of aging. It's just gonna happen.
Squeezers don't work.
Yes.
Oh, look. Kristen does remember.
See, very
God bless
nice.
Kristen. That woman.
Welcome to all of you. I see a lot of people hanging out in the Twitch chat, in the YouTube chat, in the Periscope chat.
Do we have a new person?
Do we have a new person? I don't know. I saw somebody welcoming a new person, but I hadn't seen them pop up. So
okay, well, it looks like we've got somebody maybe on Twitch called That Tweeta.
Okay, yeah, or That Weeda.
Oh, it's Weeda.
Yes, exactly.
Wow, guys, this is what you come here for, I guess.
And Weeda's like, I'm not new.
I just added the word that in front of my name.
That's right. I just changed my name a little bit.
Super not a big deal.
That is fine. Change your name as much as you want. We are all for name changes around here. Danae's actually been through one herself. In fact, I have a question. Did Kristen know you as Danae?
No, she did not know his name.
See?
So, she's seriously, I've known her since the third grade.
Yeah.
So maybe it was the fourth grade.
So can we go back to the part where you were fighting over boys in the third grade? Like, we've talked about this, right? Like, why does that happen?
That's why I'm passionate about it now, is because I'm like, what were we thinking when we were little, like kids? Why was it a big deal?
You're playing a game,
you?
like it's a pretend game, right? Like it's just, I don't know. It's just such a weird thing.
It's a weird thing.
All that relationship pressure in grade school.
We probably both are remembering his name. He had a really unique name.
Was it Weeda?
It was not Weeda. Yeah, Kristen. Kristen's amazing. I guess I do have one other person I could see someday popping in the chat that I knew when I was 6 years old, and she has a fun story too. But lots of really great memories with Kristen at her house. Especially with Phantom of the Opera. We listened to Phantom of the Opera a lot. And I prank called people back then too, because I was not always someone that you would like to hang out with. I was kind of a little bit of a butt for a while. Yeah,
you've told those stories too, for sure.
We've
all got growing up to do. We've all got maturing to do. We still have maturing to do, even as ancient as I feel some days. I know that I've still got a lot of growth left in me, so we'll just
you
just
should
keep
get your
progressing.
growths looked at by professionals also.
Yeah, when they're checking the squeezer.
Speaking of, you said yesterday that you got a COVID test.
I did. I
Do
did.
you
I
want
had
to
my
give an
brain
update?
scraped. Sure. Yeah, I'm an extremely negative person. I have tested negative, so no.
We're positive that he's tested
I'm
negative.
positive that I'm
We're
negative.
happy that he's negative.
You know, it's nice. You have a possible contact, and so you're asked to get tested, and it's like, well, at least I'll know. And
Yeah.
you know, because you can be asymptomatic, and I am not only asymptomatic, I also don't have it. So that's
You're
always
both
nice thing to know.
special. Well,
Correct. Yes.
I just thought that people might be interested to know that you're
Sure.
in the clear.
You want to shoe dough? Ready to shoe dough?
Yeah.
All right, let's do
That's
it.
why we're here. Let's do it.
We're going to do the DNANU for the third day in a row. We are hanging out 2 some days in a row, a Monday and 2 some days. And this is how this works if you've never been hanging out with us before. Danae's got a topic. That's the D topic. I've got a topic. That's the A topic. You have many topics. Those are the U topics. And if you have a topic that you want us to talk about or a question that you want us to answer, just put that in the chat wherever you are. We will see it. Danae is now breaking things, but whatever the case may be, just put a little or even a capital U at the beginning of that question in the chat so that we can identify it quicker. And we will get to those at the end. But Danae, kick us off. What do you want to talk about on this Wednesday morning?
So last night I played, whoa, that is not the right one. Hey, where'd my topic? Oh no, I added a ticker to my topic. What do I do? I'll fix it.
If you'll check the private chat that we have in the backstage of the show, I had mentioned that.
There's a message. It says your banner appears to be a ticker.
Yeah, I noticed that when you entered it.
Awesome. Hey, we're learning as we go here.
That's right.
So I was up until almost midnight playing Dungeons and Dragons with my friends last night. And we had this really incredible emotional moment as a team. And these happen when you play role-playing style games where, you know, you're touching on topics that are really abnormal to your everyday life. Like my world, my little imaginary world that we kind of play within is, you know, a medieval world. You've got people that are trained to be fighters who, if they see something, they're going to go up and intimidate them, mixed with someone who's like a rogue who wouldn't, or like a cleric who wouldn't necessarily go at approaching things with violence first. And they're hanging out and going on adventures together. It's very different than 2020 in a way, right? Like if we play games together, oftentimes now it's, you know, you're going on an adventure like in this environment and there's these NPCs that sort of walk up and interact with you and give you a quest and then they go away. And if you kill them in the game, it's like, whatever. But like in Dungeons and Dragons, I'm playing all these other characters. So that's just a different... I am playing the people who give the quests. I'm the one that's in charge of the game. And it's just this really interesting world. And things happen in the game that are emotional. And we had an emotional trigger go off that caused us to stop playing and talk as a group. And we just kind of ran into this. Literally, what had happened in our game was almost tit for tat what had happened in someone's real trauma in their real life.
Oh, wow.
And because we're all kind of playing characters, of course, none of us knew that this person was like experiencing this raw, like reliving of trauma. And so I, as the person running the game, kind of noticed like, hey, we need to have let's just stop the game for a second and like just check in. There are a lot, emotions are really high right now. Are we all feeling okay? And I was really proud of this group of people that I play with that we got honest and real about our pasts and history. Yeah. And this game kind of brought something to light. Now, I'm not saying you guys maybe have had emotional experiences in games before, because most of the time for me, it's just exciting. And the emotional experience is like wonder and awe and excitement and like this. But here's this moment where it was just like, oh my gosh. Actually, I have to say this. Sometimes Monopoly brings out rage. So there is that too. A little unexpected, like, hey, I am so mad at you for doing that, you know? So that does happen in games as well. But anyways, for me, it was just this beautiful moment where we all almost like were to tears and just talking amongst each other. And just this light kind of came in on this dark spot of someone's history that they really haven't even talked about very much with anyone. But because it had been so close to the nose in the game, it was time. So we kind of got to honor this healing situation in our game time together. And it was really powerful. And it really just bonded us all together, and it was an awesome thing. Just thinking about it this morning, I want to get emotional again because I don't know, it's just, to
Feel
watch
free.
somebody go through it. I don't want to start crying on the show. But
Well,
it
then
was
make
really
up your
powerful.
mind. You say you want to get emotional. You say you don't want to get emotional.
Hey guys, I'm invisibly emotional.
No, I think that is beautiful. I think it's
Yeah.
the power of storytelling. Dungeons and Dragons is a very much a storytelling game. And
It
so,
is.
the power of storytelling is how it can relate to the things that are going on in our own lives. Those are the reasons I cry at movies or TV shows when they kind of hit close to home. That's the reason I bawl like a baby every time, Marlin and Nemo meet up at the end of Finding Nemo. Spoiler alert. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. You're right. It doesn't usually happen with games for me. I mean, I can remember a furious game of Uno once where, somebody gave me a draw 4 at the wrong time and that made me upset. But, anger is a very different emotion than kind of what you're talking about.
But still, emotion is emotion. And I think sometimes in games it is surprising because you're like, okay, I'm just going to sit down and have a casual game. And all of a sudden you find that you're invested. I didn't realize how competitive I was until I realized, I think, Aaron, you helped me kind of work through this years ago, that the reason I avoid playing some games is because I hadn't done a lot of emotional work
Right.
to be able to handle playing a competitive game, because I just get angry and I'm like, what is that? And I had to go into my childhood and think about how we played games when I was a kid and the investment that you have. And like, it's a lot. It can be a really emotional thing, which is probably good, right? Because it gives you an outlet. It gives you a place to experience your humanity with others. And hopefully it's in a safe space, because there's so many ways to play games these days.
I do have a thought about a game that I wanted to mention, but I want to hit the chat real quick because there's lots of good stuff there. Some funny stuff too. Scott says, I didn't have any kind of epiphany or anything, but this one time while playing Vampire the Masquerade, one of our party had their arm ripped off by a werewolf, and I thought that was hilarious. Craig says, beating Metal Gear Solid and Sega the Lion King game was very emotional. Ooh. Very nice.
Oh,
very
man,
nice.
I remember feeling that feeling of beating a game. What was that game? Kingdom Hearts. The music was so intense, and just this like story that they had been developing. It was sort of like fantasy, Final Fantasy feel to it. Yeah, that was a really emotional game for me too.
Craig also says, you don't know angry till you lose in Madden on a Hail Mary. So I'm sure Danae's house has experienced plenty of sports game anger.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I think that may have happened a few times.
Oh yes.
At your home. JC Davis says, note to self, be careful if Danae ever plays Monopoly. Yeah. I have a history of people in my family who, when they don't like how a game is going, let's flip the board. Just be like, we're done.
Ooh, I don't think I've ever flipped the board. But I've definitely gotten mad and made it awkward.
This is nice. From Caleb says, being able to notice how your players are reacting is the sign of a good DM. I think many D&D players have horror stories about DMs who are oblivious and let things go too far.
Yeah.
Kind of embracing that role of protector and overseer of the game and of the story and of the people playing it. And so that's,
because it is emotional. If you guys have never played a game like this before, it's vulnerable because you're sitting with your friends. Well, we're all virtual. And you're playing a character, which you're acting a little bit, right? So that can be a vulnerable experience. Like, okay, I'm playing someone else in front of people. That can feel a little weird. But then, on top of that, you're trying to like slide into this other personality that's still an extension of you somehow. So
Jake says, I get to gloating when I play trivia games. Is gloating an emotion? I mean, maybe. Sure.
I don't know. Is it?
I guess. Yeah. That Wida says, my family has had actual fights around board games. Yeah.
It is. It's a very interesting space. Games, and it seems like when you hear the word game, you're like, game, fun. Not always.
Nick backs you up. There was a moment for me playing Kingdom Hearts for the first time where a story beat had me so filled with wonder that it has stuck with me ever since. I'm always trying to find that feeling again.
Kingdom Hearts did that for me so many times. I was obsessed. I think it was the story between the main character and then like the mystery that they're building. They just did a really good job of building the I don't know, there was just this sense of, I have to complete this. I want to know what happens. And then you have that letdown at the end, like a good book when it's over,
Mm-hmm.
and you just don't get that feeling again. I know exactly what you're talking about. And I do seek that out in content that I read and games that I play. I seek that same kind of feeling out.
Skidorva says, I constantly feel fear and get jump scared playing first-person shooters, and I was in the Army. And to that I say, that may be part of it, right? Like, I mean, having been in the real-life situation, I think would lend itself to being more scared and jump scares and those kind of things.
I don't know. You're supposed. I get the feeling like you kind of try to get that stuff trained out of you so that you can focus. It's like whenever I was in martial arts and we did, training for self-defense. It was always important to get into a self-defense situation with someone, because then you can control, the adrenaline isn't so distracting. So like, because I've had like a chokehold put on me and my hair being pulled, I now know what that feels like. So I can kind of think through it. So maybe that's why it was surprised to Skidorva.
My house had a penalty, says Lolly. If you flipped the board, you had to pay the other players 50 pence, about 70 cents each. It's not much, but when you're a kid and it's coming out of your pocket money, it's a lot.
That's like a swear jar, but for games.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a fun place to experience our humanity. And I don't know, that's been like when I first woke up, it's all I can think about is the game last night.
Archimedes Amazonas, oh yeah, I've cried over a character death in an MMO I play every day. Getting real life feelings involved with any games is a real thing that happens. I think it's a very natural human thing. Yeah, it is. And the thing that I thought of as I was kind of pondering this topic was you introduced us to a game called, unfortunately, Pandemic, which is a very real thing right now, but at the time wasn't something any of us had really dealt with in this way.
No.
But the game is called
If only
Pandemic.
we could have tackled the pandemic like we did in that game. I think we could handle it.
And one of the key differences in the game Pandemic that I had never played really in any other game is it is a completely cooperative game. Okay. So you all have turns and you all have things that you're doing and things that you're accomplishing, but you're also talking together about strategy. Like if I do this thing, you can do this thing. So like all 2, 3, or 4 players are working together to solve this problem. And there's different difficulty levels. And I remember when we beat the pandemic in this game for the first time, it was a different feeling than I'd ever had winning a game ever before, because there were no hard feelings. Nobody lost. There was no, we did this together. And that cooperative nature, if you can pull off the fun of the strategy and gameplay without having to add in the thrill of competition, that's a really interesting thing, because the euphoria is a little bit different. It's cleaner. It's a cleaner euphoria. It's just, it's pure. There's a purity to the excitement of winning that you just don't get unless you like beating people. Like, unless part of your competitive spirit is, you only get euphoria from holding people down.
I have a question for you though.
Sure.
So you played basketball though, and I would think that it would be similar because you're on a team and you're working together in this, but it's still a competition because somebody loses on the other side.
Yeah, somebody loses. Yeah, the other team loses. And as excited as you are to win, there are still glances over to the other bench where players are crying or... Right,
it is a bummer.
Yeah.
And in Pandemic, you're fighting a virus.
There's a life lesson there, right? Like, it's okay to win and lose. We're all going to have successes and failures and wins and losses in life, and knowing how to handle both is important. So I do think competition is an important thing to learn how to process and to learn how to, deal with in your life. But there is something different about a cooperative game like that. So, yeah.
I also just want to say Archimedes' message that we have up about the MMO Player Death, like when a player dies in a video game or in like an RPG game or whatever. One of my new players who hasn't played Dungeons and Dragons very much, she messaged me the other day and she's like, is it normal to worry? Like, I really don't want my character to go away. I'm really enjoying this.
Yeah.
And so we talked about it. We had to kind of talk about, there's a chance it could happen. That's not my goal. I want to story tell. Like, I have a story I'm wanting to tell with you guys playing along. That's where I'm at as a DM right now.
Yeah.
But last night we they interacted with a very dangerous person that was defending herself, and I dealt a massive amount of damage and took somebody from like 49 HP down to like 12 in one hit. And I just had to sit there and go, oh, I might wipe out my party. And I was really freaked out, and so we talk about that stuff too, just how we can get attached to things. I think that's healthy and fine, but it's also important to move on, because I was really attached to, for example, World of Warcraft. I was really attached to that kind of world, and I just wanted to be there all the time and kind of forgot to live my life for a minute there.
Sure.
But yeah.
Scott says, confession time, I'm a sore loser, but it takes a while. Like if we have a game night and I lose a lot, I start getting upset after the 4th or 5th time. So that's a pretty good tolerance.
Well,
I think all of us would like
oh
on,
my gosh.
on the 5th time that we lost something might be like, I'm kind of done. I'm going to bed.
I don't want to be that person that's just pulling up the rear every time, just bringing it home. Okay.
Jen says, our rule is the winner cleans up. So there you go.
That's an interesting thing.
Little punishment for winning.
I like that Weta says, wait, there's a world outside of Azeroth, which is the World of Warcraft, right? So Aaron and I went to see the World of Warcraft movie together.
It's true. It's true.
And I was like, I've been like looking at this world on the big screen, having memories that of a non-existent place. And I'm just like, wow, this is so interesting. Aaron's like, this is the most boring thing I've ever seen. It was funny.
Well, let's be clear. It's not that the world that World of Warcraft exists in is inherently boring. It could probably be interesting, but I don't think the movie did enough for the people who hadn't already been invested in that world for me to figure out what I was supposed to think was cool or interesting.
Yeah, it was
very
hard
much,
for you to, yeah.
There were a lot of winks and nods in that movie that went right over my head because I never played World of Warcraft, and I could feel it. I could feel the wind
that you were
wishing
something
above my head. It was just like, it's not a fun way to watch a movie.
Wish.
Yeah, yeah.
Just above your head.
Yeah, exactly.
Mariella says, I last played a board game 10 years ago. That's true. Some people just don't play board games or even online games. You're out there living your life. Like freaking.
There's enough competition in the real world.
I mean, I'm not saying that you don't play any games at all. I'm just kind of giving it a general thing. Do you play card games though? Because a really fun one too is Gubs. Because Gubs is another one where the game is kind of playing against you. And so instead of hating the players around the table, you can kind of hate the game, which is helpful. It does.
Gubs is great, but it is no different than Uno or Skipbo or any other card game. You're still trying to beat everybody else at the table.
Yeah, but there are games that there's cards that come up in the game that affect everybody evenly. And that's where I think it's different. Because Uno, you don't like serve a card that suddenly like everybody has to reshuffle all their hand.
I mean, it happens all the time when you change colors, right? Like then everybody's like, oh, now I don't have that many color.
But somebody has to play that card. So you can blame, like, if you play a card that's like change the color, then everybody gets mad at Aaron. But in Gubs, if you flip over a card that you have to instantly play, that's not your fault. That's like everybody has to reshuffle their hand in the deck. They're not mad at you. They're mad at the game. And I think that can kind of be helpful psychologically.
Yeah,
a little subtle difference.
Yeah. The other difference is Gubs is so much more.
I love Gubs.
There are so many more versions of the way Gubs goes than Uno. You know, Uno is a very like straight line. Like this is going to happen. You have these cards, you're going to play them. These are the things that are going to happen. Gubs is a little more complex, has a few more rules. So yeah, that's a fun one.
That way, just says Cards Against Humanity can ruin friendships. It can also bring
it's
people
right there
together.
in the name. I mean, it's against humanity. So like, I don't know what you were expecting from a game called Cards Against Humanity. Ready to head on to the A topic?
Yeah. Hey guys, thank you for sharing all your gaming things.
That was fun.
That was a lot of fun for me. So thank you.
That was a really good one. I'm not sure. This may be interesting, kind of connection to playing games and those kind of things. I'm just trying to think of creative ideas for a socially distanced holiday because we're heading into a holiday season where most families will be socially distanced because of the pandemic that's going on. And kind of not having that everybody Norman Rockwell sitting around the table kind of thing going on. How do you approach that? Because we're all going to have something, a lot of us are going to have something missing, in our psyche, in our spirit. What are some creative ways to kind of work your way through that kind of thing?
First thought, is to get creative right now before the end of this week and put something in the mail. That's my first thought, because like maybe you can't mail turkey or stuffing or like something food related, but maybe you can do something that could be at the table that would represent your family, just so that they're there with you. I've actually been looking at a couple of long distance gift ideas. There are these things called friendship lamps.
Okay.
They're kind of expensive, like a couple $100s for a pair.
Oh, I think I know what this is.
And you tap yours and the other one lights up.
Right.
And they're linked together. Just a way for like, so for example, if I was sitting here, it could light up over in the corner. I didn't turn it on, but whomever it's linked to did, because they're thinking about me. And that's kind of an interesting idea, but it's expensive, obviously. So something
or they
similar,
just needed to see where they dropped their glasses. I mean,
right.
you never
like
really
they
know. But
touch the wrong lamp. The cool thing is you can link multiple lamps together too. So you could have a whole family, that all links together, and just that's a long-term gift idea though. And I think for just specifically this holiday, it would be kind of interesting to have something at my table that would represent people, whether they're sending it to me or I create it myself. Obviously, you've got video hangout. I think that's such a key to just at least try to get on video together and see each other and hear your voices, because if you consistently see either a family or friend around this time of the year and you're not going to see them this year, there's just nothing that beats all the stories and experience you have together. So at least seeing each other is that spark of, oh, it's so good to see you. And there's just this relief when you are kind of with someone that you know.
I am an introvert. I think people know that. So it's not like I'm always wanting like lots of people around. But at the same time, one of my main love language is also physical touch. And so like I really do miss hugging the people I care about. Like that is a real thing for me. And that's kind of hard to imitate. I do love some of these ideas.
Yeah, I was seeing them too.
Lollipop says, some of my friends are talking about a Zoom cook-along.
Cook-along.
This is a great idea. Everyone's going to chat while cooking their grandma's famous dumpling soup. So everybody has the same recipe.
Oh,
and
I love this.
Together, everybody kind of gets on, Google Meet or Zoom or whatever and, cooks along together. That's a really, really fun idea. I like that one.
Yeah, you can hear all of the, how do I do this?
Yeah, exactly. JCD says, our family has an interesting way to do it this year. My aunt died earlier this year. So instead of a gift exchange, we've all decided to just donate to a scholarship in her name.
That's cool.
That is definitely cool.
Doc says, yeah, my family has a weekly Zoom call and a hangout, and they play games together, which is so great. Craig recommends for you, Aaron, a long distance pillow for hugging. Okay, so you hug your pillow, I'll hug my pillow.
Okay.
At the same time.
Yeah,
it's like the lamp, except for hugs.
That's definitely an idea from somebody who maybe isn't physical touch. There's something about the human touch that just isn't there when you're hugging a pillow.
A lot of these are related on watching video, which is completely understandable. Scott says Zoom while eating Thanksgiving dinner and use one of those watch together apps that you can watch a Christmas movie.
Oh, I like that. Watching a movie together, that could be fun.
The idea of doing Zoom family categories or any game and a pie family date. Yay! There are really fun games that are online. What's the one that we play? What's it called? We played it at some week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Jackbox games.
Jackbox games. Those can be really fun as a family as well.
Yeah. What is it? Do you know what the pie family date thing is? Is that a specific thing or just
I'm
saying?
assuming that it meant as a family you eat pie together.
Okay. It just sounded like a specific thing. Like,
No, I said yay because I love pie. I was real excited.
Just had to mention the pie.
I was super excited about that because pie. I love pie. Yeah. I am a little bit worried about pie this year because if I'm responsible for our own pie making, I have never made a pie before. There's always got to be a first time, though, There always has to be that first time that you make a pie. This could be it this year. Danae is in charge of the pie.
Or take advantage of not having to have all that food, and not having to have all those calories.
I just have an idea. I've got it. I open up and peel away the protective layer of all of the freaking candy we still have, open all of it, put it into a pie tin, cover it as if it's a real pie, maybe even bake it. It all
just
melts together.
Do me a favor, just warm it. Just, set it on a very low warm. Yeah.
So it's just kind of like
so it kind of melts together. Yeah.
Put it in the refrigerator. It solidifies. So we're talking like Skittles and Kit Kat and peanut butter things and whatever's.
Reese's,
They're all in
Snickers,
there. All
Milky
of it's
Way.
together.
Yeah.
The big
Twix.
reveal comes Thanksgiving. I cover it with whipped topping so nobody technically can see it. Cut into it, and then we can get rid of this candy that we have.
I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea.
I'll have to call it something clever. So help me come up with a name for this candy pie. Because it can't just be candy pie.
Craig says, well, being Italian, my Thanksgiving is nothing but arguing. So this year is a blessing for us. You aren't going to miss all the political arguing conversations that come at family holidays? Come on.
Man, there is a little bit of a relief, right? Yeah. I'm a little relieved to not have to be around the table this year.
Caleb brings up something that I think is worth talking about. It's a little bit deeper, a little bit tougher, but says, I'm afraid that my family won't adapt to the pandemic and just commit to a normal holiday season. I'm not comfortable with that, but I also don't want to ditch my family. Caleb, you are not alone. There are many people dealing with that tug of, I love my family. They're not taking this at the same level of seriousness that I'm taking it. And I don't think it's responsible for me to be there, but I love my family. What do I do? You're not the only one facing that. And I unfortunately don't have any kind of real solution for you other than once you make a decision, be fine with your decision. It's,
it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah. There's always going to be that moment when you realize that you can't please everybody and you just have to do something that makes you happy and healthy. And it's going to feel selfish. And other people don't always understand your decisions to protect your boundaries. And at some point, there is always that conversation with the family about this isn't just working for us, which for us happened a few years back when our tradition started to shift after a family argument happened, right? And so we had this like break in our traditions for the first time in my entire life. And so then Justin and I had to come up with our own new boundaries. Like, what does it mean for us? So yeah, it is awkward. I feel that for you. I've got family that lives in other parts of the country, and they usually travel, and they're just not traveling this year. And some of them are crying about it because it's hurting their heart. Some of them are just like, sorry, I'm just not going to see you this year, but I love you. Yeah. Let's hang out, So people are going to react differently. Yeah. Our community says, I'm going to do something similar to what Danae was describing. I think I was talking about this a couple days ago. Me and my friends are thinking about coming for each other and dropping off at each other's houses. So we all have the same dinner prepared with people in the group, and then have it on the Discord call. This was kind of my idea if we had to do like a drop-off Thanksgiving where mom like made what she made and we just sort of did like a little DoorDash situation since we live close together. I think that could be fun. Yeah. So, but now that I know that we might be able to meet for Thanksgiving, I'm like, no, just let mom do all that. I'll make the ones I know how to make.
Well, because your family is already in your quarantine pod. Yeah, you guys live in the same area and Yeah,
and we started to very purposefully, get together, and then we just talk about what our extended bubbles are. And if that shifts significantly or changes, we just talk about it. Yeah. That's kind of how we're dealing with our pandemic situation. We're not on full lockdown, although they're spiking right now, and it's just a different time. Like schools are shutting down again right now for distant learning. And so we're just going to have to see. It's a weird year.
Sire Egdo says, if you're willing to pay for shipping, my wife can make you some homemade pies that she sells for her side business. They are high quality.
Okay. Tell me more about pumpkin.
Yes. How well does it travel?
How well does pumpkin pie travel? Because I'm genuinely not opposed. Pumpkin pie is my favorite. It's also my birthday this weekend. So pumpkin pie is usually like my birthday cake.
Scott says, it was fine until Danae decided to mix Skittles in with chocolate. So I thought the exact same thing. I was like, Snickers, Milky Way, Twix, Skittles.
So I talked about this candy soup. We've got this gigantic thing that just has a whole bunch of candy in it. Inside it is one wayward piece of candy that is SpongeBob's like the burger patty.
Okay.
Oh, I can't remember what the patty is called.
Krabby Patty?
Krabby Patty.
I really don't know. I don't watch SpongeBob.
Yes,
that
it
just
is a
came to
Krabby
my
Patty.
brain.
So it just looks like a little burger, but you know it's like you're going to chew it. It's going to be like gum or something weird. And they always just taste horrible. There's just one in there. So also imagine that in that soup, there's just this one little section of this weirdly melted Krabby Patty.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That would be in there too.
We've got some good name selections today. Craig says the Mix Max pie.
Ooh, I like
put
it.
that
I'm
on the
writing this
list.
why am I writing this down like I'm going to do it?
Kristen says candy coat pie as a playoff of cornucopia. It's a bit of a stretch, Kristen. It's a bit of a stretch. Candy coat pie. Pie. Candy coat pie.
You can spell it Candicopia. Like, so that I kind of like that because if they read it, they'd be like, what is it? But then if I say it, they'll be like, oh, Candicopia sounds yummy.
I think Craig has the winner. The yuck yuck pie. Very nice.
Don't knock until you try it. Oh my gosh. You ready to go to the U topics, Aaron?
Yeah, we can head to the U topics while we're doing that.
Hey, I just saw this though, because Archimedes says baked Skittles. And I choose to believe that was a very exciting sounding baked Skittles and not a terrified sound of baked Skittles.
There is a how-to video on YouTube of me making a Skittle sandwich. Speaking of the Skittle Sandwich podcast that we talked about on yesterday's show.
Is that still up?
We had a fan competition on how to make your own Skittle sandwich. And I kind of gave the basic recipe, which involves bananas, peanut butter, honey, and Skittles and on a grilled sandwich. So if you want to watch that, that is somewhere on YouTube right now. Just probably search for how to make a Skittle sandwich and you'll probably find that. So yes, I have definitely warmed up Skittles before, and it wasn't awful. So yes. While you're looking for the U topics as we head on that direction, I just want to say I'm seeing a lot of the chat that continues to be deeper opening up about, people who aren't with us for this holidays, and about just kind of, I think somebody was saying they live overseas from family and that now family's not getting together and it was going to be a special thing. I just want you to know we hurt with you. We know that this is not easy and we like to pop on every morning, give some encouragement, have some fun, hang out together, laugh together, smile together. But I want you to also know we're together on that stuff too. And
yeah, you guys had to do that yourself. You had to kind of completely change your plans to see family.
Oh yeah. Lots of everybody had lots of plans to change this year, and it stinks. And it's seeing it all in the chat. My heart goes to everybody that's dealing with that stuff. So just wanted to kind of throw that out there.
Yeah.
Danae, did you find any U topics to kind of kick us off? By the way, get yours in right now. It's not like it's too late now. Go ahead and comment with anything, any question that you have, any kind of topic you want to talk about. You can get that in there as well.
All right. This one comes from Lolly, who says, what's the last movie or TV show that made you cry? For me, it was watching the Disney movie that just came out with the brothers. What's that one called, Aaron? Onward.
Yeah.
I was not prepared. Although I think there was another one recently that did make me cry, but I can't remember it. It wasn't as traumatizing of a cry. Onward came out of nowhere for me as I was just watching it, and then quite suddenly I was overcome with emotion. So that's why I'm choosing this one, because it was a sneak attack. It was a teary sneak attack, and I had a nice guttural cry on that one.
Yeah.
I think because I really appreciated the sacrifice that one of the brothers made.
Speaking of Pixar movies, I cannot say anything review-ish about this movie because it doesn't come out until Christmas, but I have seen their next movie. And
what's it called?
Soul. So for awards consideration, those kind of things. And I had some tears on that one too. But the last time I remember crying to TV, and I apologize if this seems a little political, it's really not to me when I say this, but genuinely was weeping during Joe Biden's speech. I just and it
Oh
was
my God.
it was specifically the part where he was talking about unity and being everyone's president and coming together. And I was just like I didn't know how much I needed to hear that. I get like my spirit was just like releasing something that I wasn't ready for. Like
That's
I'm welling
interesting.
up right now thinking of it. It is
Aw.
interesting, and I promise you, I don't mean it to be political. There are a lot of different aspects to governing and politics and all that kind of stuff. But on a very human level,
It was really
it was meaningful to me.
refreshing to hear
Yeah,
someone talk
it was
about
meaningful to me.
unity. Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's interesting because I did tear up during Kamala's speech because I didn't realize how interesting it was to see my like myself represented in that way. I wasn't
yeah.
expecting that. I also am not like politically driven. It wasn't like a yeah kind of a thing. It was more like a, oh my gosh, it's really sinking in. I'm going to have a different level of representation for the first time in history. And there was just this powerful experience that I was experiencing. That's interesting. We both were crying. But for
Craig
different
says,
reasons.
Euphoria, the TV show Euphoria, the last episode hit me in the soul. Yeah, they're just some of those shows that just so completely resonate with you that yeah, it kind of has that thing going for it. Slap says, last TV cry was when I was rewatching Scrubs. I don't know.
I don't judge you for that.
I don't. I just don't know. I've never really watched the show.
I don't know where you would cry, but that's okay.
Doc says, I rewatched Avatar: The Last Airbender series, and that show gets me all the time. Yeah, there's some good stuff in there too. So
yeah. I'm looking for the next U topic. I'm
Sure.
scanning through. So it'll just take me a second. I know I'm going to come on one here in just a moment because I saw it
you're
earlier.
fine. You're fine. I wanted to put this up from Austin, who says, we light a candle for family members who aren't with us. Traditionally, that's those who have died. But this year, it'll mean those who would be physically with us
That's
if not
neat.
for the pandemic. So
That's cool.
yeah, I think that's very meaningful. So I wanted to throw that up there.
And there's still time to do something like that because obviously, like if you're going into grocery stores or something, you can grab candles or you can grab, a card to send in the mail, or you can still get stuff in the mail if you wanted to interact with your family in like a physical way from a distance. There's still time to do that.
I'm going to throw a couple up here that we may not have great answers for because I'm not watching Dark Materials. Is Dark Materials, is that I think that's the one with they made the movie out of, right? It's a series of books and what was that movie? And they were going to make a series of movies, but they only made the one and it was a big flop. And I think that's the same universe.
His Dark Materials is a trilogy of fantasy novels by Philip Pullman consisting of Northern Lights, The Subtle Knife, and The Amber Spyglass.
Yeah.
And then it says you can watch it on HBO Max.
Yeah, I'm not watching it, but yeah, so I don't really have any thoughts on that. I assume, Danae, you aren't watching. No, okay.
I don't have HBO Max.
Oh.
It's one of the ones I don't subscribe to.
Do you have HBO Mini?
No, I have HBO Sideways.
Oh, fair enough.
Which basically means when I'm hanging out with someone who has it, I have access to it. But considering we're not hanging out with anybody.
Chat's on it. Chat's on it for me. Dark Materials equals Golden Compass, Golden Compass, Golden Compass. The Golden Compass is what you're thinking of.
Here's a question from JCD. Prompted by my coworker bringing me taffy from his recent vacation. Have you ever bought something as a gift for someone on an impulse? Oh, yes. I am definitely an impulse purchaser. Probably the dumbest one ever was a random friendship that I developed with a couple of, there's a group of guys. They were really into like drama and acting. And so it would be like, okay, let's go and act this scene out from a movie. And I was like, that's really interesting. And they just always were very adventurous. For my birthday, they did like a whole seek and find thing around town. They found out that my favorite chocolate is Sixlets. So there was like all these Sixlets that were everywhere. They were just really, really inventive. And I loved hanging out with them. And because I was having such a great time hanging out with them and they lived in an apartment together, I spent $250 on a new stereo system for them because I had a job at the time that I was making money. I had nothing to spend it on. I was like, I don't have any reason to have this money. I went to Best Buy, bought him a massive stereo system, went and dropped it off. And it was within about 6 months we stopped hanging out.
Wow.
I thought about that a lot. Like, why did I do that? I don't know. It was dumb.
That's amazing.
It was dumb, but not dumb. Like, how cool is that to be like, sure, we'll take the stereo. Great. What a great. And then, like, I haven't seen them since.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very kind.
I do smaller things for friends now, but on the regular.
I can't remember if I told this story on here or in a podcast or neither, but there's an update to it. So I will tell it again. But the last time I impulse bought something was I bought a really nice cribbage board on Amazon. And I was thinking, I had remembered that my wife and I used to love to play cribbage together. Turns out I had remembered that incorrectly. She doesn't really enjoy the game, but I had bought this really nice cribbage board and presented it to her. I was like, look, we can play cribbage again. It's something we love to do together. And she was like, I don't like this game. And so what was really beautiful was a couple nights later, and my wife is amazing. A couple nights later, she comes to me and she's like, okay, I've been studying cribbage rules and I'm ready to play. Let's play. And it was so sweet. She was just like, yeah, I know how much this means to you. And I know you made this purchase and I want to do this. And, it was really beautiful. It was a really beautiful moment. So, why are you laughing at me?
Because there was a time where you and Jen came over and you brought this cribbage board over, and it is like this elaborate,
nice, right? Yeah.
intricate, carved wooden board that has all these like little drawers to pull out with all these metal pieces that all just perfectly go together.
Yeah, it's great.
And you're like, guys, I brought cribbage. And we're all like, cool, let's play Sagrada.
Right.
You were like crushed.
Yeah.
You were visibly like, And I actually messaged you afterwards. And I was like, dude, are you okay? I'm sorry to reject your cribbage. We just didn't want to play. And I forgot how important it was to you.
Anyhow, that was the last impulse buy I made. It's got a good ending. It's got a happy ending. It's got a very happy ending.
Oh my gosh. Great question.
Yeah.
Okay. This one comes from Jen, who says, I am currently making my hub's birthday pie. So you always have cake or sometimes something else. Is there any other birthday traditions that you have? Oh my gosh. I wish I did.
No, we
wish I
really
did.
don't celebrate our birthdays. I mean, like, really don't. Like, my wife and I will tell each other happy birthday. That's about it. Like, we
Hey,
don't buy
glad
each
you're
other
born.
anything. Yeah.
Mm.
For our kids, we try to do it up a little bit more.
Right.
We ask them what kind of ice cream they want, what kind of cake they want. We sing to them. But my kids are older now too, so it's ceasing to be necessarily a huge deal. But for each other, we're just not like gifts people, and so holidays where you're just supposed to get each other gifts have just never resonated with us. So it's an unfortunate answer, I guess. One time I got my wife this cribbage board for her birthday. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh. You are hilarious. I don't really have a tradition except for when my birthday falls on Thanksgiving. There's always like something to do with the pumpkin pie. And so, but that's not every year, obviously. But there's nothing that's like consistent where I have created sort of an experiential rut. What?
4 days, right? 4 days till your birthday? Yeah. Coming right up on it.
Yep. But I do love pumpkin pie. And I feel like moving forward in my life, I want the next half of my life to all be about how every birthday I for sure have pumpkin pie.
We've decided now that is a birthday tradition.
Perhaps I should be on a quest for like the best pumpkin pie recipe, because I usually just do like, it's kind of a last minute thought sometimes, like, oh, we need to get pumpkin pie. So let me go and get like the store-bought pumpkin pie, and they're fine, but there's better.
You know what's great? I just now thought of this.
Pumpkin pie.
We have a local frozen custard place called Andy's. It's incredible. They make incredible frozen custard, but they have a pumpkin pie concrete right now that is homemade pumpkin pie in their,
in their
amazing concrete. So yeah.
So I'll just go there and be like, could I have the pumpkin pie?
Just the piece of the pie,
with just the
separate
pumpkin pie. You just put it in the cup, and I'll just.
That's right. I'll just dip it. Very nice.
Here's a fun one from Austin.
Sure.
If you were arrested without explanation, what would your friends and family think you'd done?
Oh,
Probably physically assaulted someone.
Really?
Yeah, probably.
Really?
Maybe. I mean, like, I'm just thinking, like, I think they would be like, oh, she was
Arrested.
defending herself, or she was defending Iris, or she was something physical. Because I can't think of anything else that I would do that would get me arrested.
Probably.
I mean, I can think of things that would have got me arrested 10, 20 years ago. But as of today, the person that I am today, I think it would be something to do with like physically defending myself. And then there'd be like a scuffle or something.
Would you get arrested for letting somebody watch a movie screener you weren't supposed to let anybody else watch? Would that be so? Because that's probably where they would go first. Is like, were you not careful enough with your, special movie screeners?
Okay, so we know who's vanilla in this space. That's fine. It's fine.
Oh no, I'm genuinely trying to feel like what my family would think I got arrested for, and maybe nonviolent protest. I don't know. I can't imagine what I would do. I speed sometimes, but they're not going to arrest me for that.
No.
I've gone 3 over occasionally, so
that's
it's
pushing
insane.
it, man.
It's insane.
Yeah, I like how I'm like so easily like, yeah, I probably punched somebody real hard. Maybe choked him out. I don't know. He's just like, I speed sometimes.
Scott says, you topic favorite Christmas movie. Oh, there you go. It's a Wonderful Life. That's an easy answer for me. We watch it every year. Love it, love it, love it. Elf's great too. What about you?
Don't have one.
I
Sorry.
don't know how I feel about that. Do you don't even have a favorite Christmas
probably
movie?
some sort of like a Christmas Carol style.
Muppets Christmas Carol. Come on.
But we don't watch it enough that I even know what is in it. Do you know what I mean? Like I can say that, but I cannot think of a movie that I have watched.
Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
That's a great one. Let's go with that. Is it a movie?
Sure. Of course it is. It counts.
Yeah, that one is kind of special because we watched it when I was a kid, and then there's like a book I saw at a bookstore once, and I actually got the Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas book. And we did watch it with Iris when she was her first year on the planet. So she would have been like 8 months old, I think. Her first Christmas. And we put it on the big screen TV. And the first time she saw Kermit, she started like getting excited. And it was like, we're like, oh, she likes Kermit. But then the next year she had zero interest in it at all. So we haven't watched it since. But it is great and interesting to watch. If you've never seen Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, it's interesting to watch because of how they created it, which I find to be fascinating. And some of the songs on it are really beautiful too.
Archimedes Amazonas, topic. How do you feel about streaming services having different libraries in different countries? Is it okay to use a VPN to overcome that? Fair or piracy-like?
Piracy!
Today I want to hear your thoughts. I have lots of thoughts on this, so I want to hear kind of how a question like this strikes you. Did you know that like in different countries, Disney Plus has different selections, or Netflix has? There are TV shows on Netflix in Canada that we can't get on Netflix in US because of different, deals of distribution and that kind of thing. So
I think the hard part is that we know. Before, I don't think like, oh, we can't see what's on TV in Canada was as big of a deal. When there was no streaming service, it was like you just don't know what's going on. Right. Now we do, because we can all talk to each other and you can access stuff online, like you're talking about with potentially like breaking down the internet walls and kind of getting in there and taking content, which I do think is wrong. So I guess my short answer is, yeah, I think if you steal something off of the internet that you're not supposed to have access to, I personally get really freaked out by stuff like that. Not because I'm going to get caught, but because I don't know. I would rather figure out a legit way to buy it. If you really want to see a TV show, perhaps you could purchase it online and then have it shipped to you and then put it in your DVD player and watch it, right? Like if you're really interested in it. I think there's potentially ways to get that content, but definitely not like the easy way of going and downloading it from websites. But I feel like a fuddy-duddy saying that, so that's my thoughts.
No, hey, we all have, the ways we approach the world. I'm exactly opposite. I think copyright law is ridiculous. I think that there are laws that are
sorry.
there are laws like speeding that that you can mush around with a little bit. And there are consequences. If you break the law, there are always consequences. But maybe those consequences are worth it for you. I don't know. Like, the law isn't the be all and end all of morality. However, it is an important way for us to interact in, whatever government we're under, whatever authorities are above us. It is an important way for us to respect that, to act within that. But I don't base my morality on what is and isn't legal. So yeah, I have different views on that. And a lot of it comes from, how I think the way copyright is handled currently is immoral. I think the law itself is immoral. So, there's a different way to, process that. But humans can rationalize anything. So as far as using a VPN to watch stuff that's not technically in your area, man, that's on the that's 3 miles over the speed limit. That's way lighter side of breaking the law. But it is breaking the law. Right. And I would never encourage anybody to break the law. And anything that we say on this show is for entertainment purposes, not legal ones.
That's
Yep,
right.
Exactly.
We were copyrighted in saying that.
That's right.
Yeah. That conversation about copyright is a little bit like a side to me. I think I agree with you completely.
Yeah. But it isn't the law that we live under. And that's that is important. I
now, if you're
totally hear what
asking
you're
me,
saying.
do I think that like the governments or whatever should say what you can and cannot watch and stuff like that? I mean, I think everybody should be able to make those decisions for themselves, but we don't all live in the same area. Like think about North Korea and just there's some weird stuff going on.
Yeah.
So, and I have that stuff kind of like is a super big bummer and scary in its own way.
Yeah.
But for entertainment, I just think there's a way to do it where you can just get what you want to watch. But I'm probably wrong about that.
Yeah,
It's not easy to get stream services.
Correct. Usually you're right. Usually there is a legal way to do it. For a few bucks or, for waiting for delivery, those kind of, usually, not always, but usually there's a legal way to see the things that you want to see that, they're going to cost you a few bucks more or a few hours more of time to get them. So,
but I kind of want to be a pirate. Like that sounds kind of fun. Thank you for the birthday wishes. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep. So let me ask you this,
Scorpio
Danae.
season, Danae, says Craig. I am a cusp, I will tell you. My birthday falls between Sagittarius and Scorpio moving into the next little season. So I'm like, and on all of my personality tests and everything, I'm always right there in between the existence. I was born on a 1122 at 12:12 and I weighed 7 pounds, 7 ounces. So I'm always just right there in that like double groove, baby. And I love it. That's, yeah. Happy redacted birthday, Danae. You're welcome. Yeah.
The question I have for you, Danae, because I want to poke in on your line with the conversation we were just having, is how does borrowing someone's sign in for a certain streaming service like fall?
I
on
actually
that
don't
line?
do it.
So
I don't do it. If like I'm on my mom and dad's Netflix because they allow to have multiple things.
profiles,
and that's it.
Yeah. Would it bother you to know that technically it's supposed to be within the same household?
We
Profiles?
were at one point in the same household.
See, everybody's got a line.
Yeah. We've talked about that before too, about like, is that okay? And Justin has shared some of his stuff with his family members as well. And I've just been like, well, I mean, it's just going to happen. So.
I think what's important for me to say is the courts are not deciding this because the content providers are not prosecuting it. And so there's so much nebulous to copyright law that I think a level of finding your way through that is normal. It's not being litigated. So, nobody really knows what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do. So, yeah.
Lolly says, so in the answer to the previous question, we can assume that Aaron was arrested because Danae snitched on his pirating.
There you go.
Sorry, Aaron.
There you go. No, that's all right. I deserved it. There are consequences.
In this imaginary world, I'm also very, very wealthy. So I'll just pay for your lawyer. And
hey, I appreciate that. That's very nice.
Yeah, I'll feel bad about it. And then I'll get you out.
It's very, listen, I think it makes a lot of sense to both snitch on somebody, get them arrested, and then also, pay for their stuff. I think that's
a complicated friendship.
It's just human beings are complicated. I think we've hit our hour, Danae. We've hit past our hour. Lots of great new questions today. Thank you so much for those.
3 days in a row.
3 in a row. 3 in a row.
When does the poll for your shirt end?
That ends
before we go?
today. I believe that
Okay.
ends today. Dragons are still in the lead. So if you
I
want to check that
cannot
out,
wait.
check out
I'm so
the
excited.
Aaron and Danae Twitter. That's at Aaron and Danae on Twitter. You can also follow each of us individually. I'm at Aaron Dicer. She is at Danae Says. And then, catch us live Mondays and some days, 9 a.m. Central. And if you want to know when we're going live, best way to do that is just to subscribe to whatever platform you enjoy
You're watching from.
watching us on. Throw a sub our way. And you can be a member of Team DNA for $5 a month. And we appreciate all our members of Team DNA. Thank you so much for keeping this going. We are 10 members away from
our next goal?
from Dungeons and Dragons. So 10 more
What?
Team DNA members, and
I
we'll
thought
play
we
some
had-
Dungeons and Dragons.
I know you've said that. I must not have been listening.
Mhm.
I didn't realize that we were that close.
Yeah. Yep, we'll be at
That's
40.
so
We're at
cool.
31 right now, and 41 will be
So
Dungeons
yeah,
and
at
Dragons.
41, we're gonna do some kind of a D&D game. We don't know if we're gonna do it live. We'll probably just do a recording and then release it on Patreon or something. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I guess I need to prepare for that because I'm supposed to be the DM and I'm supposed to introduce Aaron to the game who has never played before.
Yeah, it's true. So you can join Team DNA at patreon.com/Studio DNA. We love you. Great conversations this morning. Health and happiness to you and your family. And we will catch you on the next Monday or someday.